Well, hydrogen has fascinated me all my life. When I was researching special properties of waters around the world, I was reading the works of Albert St. Georgi, the discoverer of vitamin C, and also received the Nobel Prize in metabolic chemistry. And he was fascinated with water. He said water is the mother and matrix of all life. And in one of his dissertations, he said that hydrogen is the fuel of life. And he also said that electrons never are transported in the living system unless they're attached to hydrogen. Back in the 1920s, there were 3 papers published that measured the hydrogen stored in biological tissues. This was published in medical journals, and the result that hydrogen is stored in the liver, in the lungs, in fact all the tissues of the living system. But no one knew what it was for. They said they can't figure out why the body stores it, but it must have a use or the body wouldn't store it. And Albert St. Georgi in the late 40s did his own research on measuring hydrogen using a different chemical reaction. And basically when I studied the chemical reactions involved in detecting hydrogen in the tissue, I discovered that, of course, that the hydrogen that they were detecting was not H2 gas, well, like you would think, but it was H minus, a single hydrogen atom with an added electron. So it means that you have a single hydrogen atom with 2 electrons. And of course, there's only one form of hydrogen that can transport electrons in the living system, and that's H minus, the negatively charged hydrogen ion. It's now generally accepted medically that the aging process is a disease brought about by free radical damage to the DNA of our cells. The double helix of the DNA, the ladder, you have your little peptides that go in between, the rungs of the ladder, but the double helix of the DNA, the edges are composed of hydrogen atoms. And so when a free radical comes into the body, if we don't have sufficient antioxidant protection, what happens is that the free radicals will from the DNA helix, damaging it, splitting it in 2, and then that DNA helix now cannot reproduce or cannot be reproduced in its original form, and this is largely what the aging process is. There's a lot of cellular degradation is due to damage of the DNA helix from free radical damage that damages the cells. Free radicals damage the cells. We've discovered in our laboratory a form of silica originally found in glacial waters that has a structure kind of like buckyballs. And the result is that we now have been able to create these little silica atoms and charge them with H minus with negative hydrogen ions. And this is the supreme transporter, because a single little silica buckyball that we've created can hold literally thousands of little hydrogen H minus ions in its structure. And so now a tiny little molecule can now release thousands of hydrogen ions. So in effect it's thousands of times more powerful because of the size and this easy transport than, say, vitamin C.